The day my stepmother moved in, I discovered something strange. I could hear her thoughts. She looked down at me, a 6-year-old child, her gaze laced with confusion and disbelief. System, wasn't this supposed to be a scorched earth redemption arc? You know, the kind where the male lead chases his ex-wife to hell and back? Why is there a kid here? The system responded matter-of-factly. Host, the original plot was that the second female lead, Natividad Blackwell, was abused by her biological mother from a young age. That trauma turned her into a twisted villain, and everything unfolded from there. But the original host bailed. So now you're being slotted in to take over the early stage story, as the stepmother. Your job is to make her life miserable. Bully her, push her toward darkness, and turn her into the classic jealous second lead who tries to tear the main couple apart. Once her hatred for you reaches the max level, once she wishes nothing more than to see you vanish, you'll be free to leave this world. My stepmother paused, as if weighing the assignment. Then she gave a low chuckle and nodded. All right then. Let's make a statement tomorrow. I'll make sure she sees some color. The system cheered her on. That's the spirit. Go all in. And the next day, I received a deluxe box of 120 water-soluble colored pencils. Welcome to Hihistory channel. Subscribe to follow all our latest adventures. Story begins. The very next second, I heard the system shrieking in outrage. My eyes! My eyes! Lilith Irving, what the hell are you doing? That's what you call showing her a little color? That's a whole damn rainbow. But my stepmother simply shook her head with perfect composure. Can you calm down for a second? You're a system. Act like one. Ever heard of the phrase, soft first, hard later? It's strategy. And by the way, stop meddling. I've got my own pace. The villa fell quiet again. I recalled their strange conversation from yesterday. Lowering my head, I tried to make sense of it. I didn't quite understand what things like villainous or host meant. But I did know my name was Natividad Blackwell. So, did that mean my real mother left me, and now they'd brought in another one, just to bully me? My fists clenched. I glared at the colored pencil set she gave me and tossed it aside. It flew across the room and landed perfectly inside the trash can. The system exploded again. Did you see that? See. What a rude, ungrateful brat. A child like this is bound to turn evil. We must act now, before she grows too old to be intimidated. Strike while she's young and weak. Get back to the original plan. I heard my stepmother click her tongue in annoyance. For a moment, I thought she'd come in and yell at me. But then she fired back at the system instead. That's where you're wrong. Maybe she just doesn't like drawing. And didn't you notice? Her aim was perfect. Kid's got the makings of a champion pitcher. The system sputtered in disbelief. Are you seriously defending her right now? Enough. I won't argue anymore. From now on, do as I say, or I'll take control of your body myself. Once again, I heard her unfiltered thoughts. What are you, a slave driver? Then. Ow. Damn it, that hurts. She yelped aloud, then caved. Fine. Fine. Just tell me what you want me to do. Go introduce yourself. Show her who's in charge. Give her a scare. Be fierce. I heard footsteps approaching. I turned around to face her. Hey, kid. She stood before me, trying to look stern. Her tone was rough, and her expression sharp, but she instinctively bent slightly at the waist, lowering herself to meet my gaze. I was too busy moving yesterday and didn't notice you. I'm your new mom. Lilith Irving. Let's start off with a test. What's your name? Then, perhaps to please the system, she added. If you can't answer. No lunch for you. I stared up at her, unafraid. Everyone around me had been much scarier than her. But she just defended me. I didn't want her to get hurt by that system again. I decided to help her out. So I gave her a sweet smile. Hi, new mommy. My name is Natividad Blackwell. Look at that. What a polite child. I ask and she answers. She narrowed her eyes, clearly unimpressed. The system pressed on. Ask her why she threw your gift away. She cleared her throat and pointed toward the trash can. Natividad, that was my welcome gift. Why did you throw it away? Oh. My heart skipped. I didn't know how to explain. The word slipped out before I could think. I don't like it. It wasn't as strange as the real reason, but it still wasn't a great answer. I braced myself, sure I was about to be scolded. But while the system clucked its tongue in dismay, she couldn't help herself. Her hand reached out and gently patted my head. Such an honest kid. I like that. What's wrong with that? Honest. Direct. Just say what you like or don't like. That's how it should be. I blinked, stunned. Then, I felt a little happy. She was praising me? This evil stepmother everyone talked about. She was being nice? The system, however, sounded increasingly desperate. Can you please stick to the guidebook? You're going to fail the mission like this. That sobered her up. She straightened her posture and put on a sterner expression. All right, tell me this. Do you like anything? This is our first meeting. I'm the adult, I should bring something for you. I'm not great at guessing what kids want, so just tell me. Satisfied, system? I'm being mean, right? Wait, she wanted to give me a gift? I almost told her she didn't need to worry. Dad never gave me gifts either. When he came home, on the rare occasions that he did, he'd ask how I was doing, and the maids would chime in together. Miss Blackwell is the same as always. Quiet. Doesn't mingle. And then Dad would simply stare at me for a moment before walking away. I knew he didn't like me. But I was just quiet. Not a bad kid. Didn't every book say people had different personalities? Why couldn't my dad accept mine? And now this woman, who was supposed to be mean to me, wanted to give me something? As I struggled to find an answer, I saw her watching me thoughtfully. Look at that. She's stumped. She's frowning. I bet she hates me already. Even the system sounded pleased. Yes. The dislike is setting in. Wait, what? Apparently, my mind-reading reflex was too fast this time. By the time I realized what I was hearing, it was too late. I stared for a moment, then shook my head. No, Mommy. I don't want anything. She didn't push. She immediately put her hands on her hips. Fine then. I'll just pick something random. If you don't like it, don't blame me. And no tattling to your dad, got it? I wanted to tell her that Dad wouldn't care anyway. But she looked so confident and pleased with herself that I just nodded instead. She opened her mouth to say something else, but then the front door opened. I dropped my gaze again. Right on time. The housekeeper had come to make dinner. Natividad, why didn't you come open the door for me today? She mumbled as she stepped inside, until she saw the woman standing in front of me. And you are? My new mom gave her a polite nod. I'm the new lady of the Blackwell house. The name's Irving. The housekeeper froze for a second, clearly startled by her presence. Then, upon seeing me behind her, she quickly put on a different expression. Oh, sorry. So you're Mrs. Irving. I'm Maria the cook. Please forgive me. Miss Blackwell never told me anyone new was coming to the house. She glanced nervously at Lilith's face. When she saw no immediate reaction, her confidence grew. But you mustn't blame Miss Blackwell, Madam Irving. She's a strange one. Doesn't talk much. Doesn't really get along with us. Mr. Blackwell's always abroad too. No one really teaches her manners. I instinctively took a step back. I wanted to get away. Or just disappear. But then, my new mother cut her off. Maria, was it? The housekeeper stopped mid-ramble, blinking in confusion before nodding cautiously. Why yes, Mrs. Irving. Is there something you need? My mother, flawless skin, long legs, red high heels, took a slow, deliberate step forward, looking down at her like a queen. My move-in was arranged by Mr. Blackwell over a week ago. For the past several days, my belongings have been delivered to this house. My photos were among them, specifically so that everyone in this household would recognize me as the new lady of the house the moment I walked in. So if you're telling me you didn't recognize me, then you either haven't been paying attention, or you failed your job. That's negligence. Maria's expression twisted, a strained smile spreading across her face as she tried to come up with a defense. But my mother didn't give her the chance. But to stand here in front of me, gossiping about my husband and daughter. Tell me, does that go beyond job performance? Isn't that a character problem? You're blaming my daughter, the child of this house, for not informing you? When it's you who failed to do your job. Maria flushed a deep red. She glanced in my direction, clearly hoping I would step in and say something for her. But honestly, I was thrilled. She always made food I hated and called me picky when I wouldn't eat it. I used to tell her what I liked. She'd shut me down every time. Said I was just a kid, and kids didn't get to decide what they should eat. Then she started tattling on me, flipping the story. I got scolded by Dad on the phone more than once because of her. So no, I wasn't going to help her. Watching her squirm now. I kind of liked this new mom. She could bully me later. I'd figure it out when the time came. Right now, I gently tugged at her sleeve and whispered, "Mom, Maria used to make really awful food and force me to eat it." Her pupils widened. My sweet baby had to suffer that. Fired. Fired. They're all fired. Without hesitation, she lifted her chin and pointed at Maria like royalty issuing a decree. You don't need to come back tomorrow. In fact, don't even bother cooking today. Get out. Right now. Just like that, she fired the housekeeper on the spot. The system was fuming. What is wrong with you? You're supposed to be fulfilling a mission here. Why are you defending her? Mom shook her head calmly. You wouldn't understand. This is called delayed action. Strategic pacing. You deal with the easy stuff first and move smart. I'm supposed to be the evil stepmother, right? What kind of evil mom is only cruel to the kid but kind to everyone else? Sure, I helped her just now. But I need to eat too, you know? If Maria makes crap food, I'm stuck with it. Besides, did you see how she looked at me just now? She's definitely scared. Thinks I'm cold-blooded, ruthless. See? Still evil. The system paused. Could this actually work? If you're lying to me, I swear I'll shock you again. Hearing that, I quickly stepped forward and looked up at her with big, apologetic eyes. Mom, I'm sorry I threw away the gift. I won't do it again. Please don't fire me too. Her eyes lit up. She was absolutely glowing with satisfaction, like every move had gone exactly as planned. You see that, system? No abuse necessary. She's already afraid of me and doing exactly what I want. Keep this up, and she'll fall into despair, powerless to fight back, and boom. Down the dark path she goes. To help her sell it, I even gave a nervous little smile, trying to look especially obedient and vulnerable. The system sounded impressed now. Alright, not bad. I guess you humans really do know how to manipulate each other. Us system types don't think in circles like that. Over the next few days, Mom made a point of disciplining every servant in the house. She'd strut through the hallways cackling, "Jeh jeh jeh," just to freak people out. Whenever I looked at her like, "What even is wrong with you?" she'd plant her hands on her hips and declare, "I'm the lady of this house now. Everyone listens to me. And if you dare tattle on me, I'll fire you too." I nodded sweetly. Yes, Mom. And honestly, I owed her one. Because of her little scare tactics, everyone in the house thought she was on my side, and terrifying. No one dared speak ill of me. I finally had food I liked, peaceful nights, and no more whispers about my bad attitude. Honestly? With a mom like this, what more could a daughter ask for? When summer ended, I started elementary school. The gates were jammed with luxury cars. Mom, however, drove me in on a motorcycle, weaving through the lineup like a rebel in heels. She sighed under her breath. System, seriously? All these luxury cars in the Blackwell family, and you had to pick the one with a motorcycle. The system shot back, Don't act like I don't know you never had a driver's license in your last life. Besides, think about it. Among a sea of rich brats arriving in shiny cars, a kid on a motorcycle sticks out like a sore thumb. Instant alienation. And we both know how cruel little humans can be. They can say the ugliest things and get away with it, because no one thinks children should be held accountable. Her hands tightened on the handlebars. I held her a little tighter from the back. But honestly, things couldn't get worse than before. In preschool, no one played with me anyway. They said Dad didn't like me. And if their parents found out they played with me, they'd be punished too. So no, I wasn't afraid of being ignored. Our old preschool was right next to this elementary school. All the rich kids went here. Sure enough, the moment the bike stopped at the gate, heads turned. Some kids laughed out loud. Look, it's Natividad Blackwell. No parents, and now no fancy car either. I ignored the stares, got off the bike, and said, "Bye, Mom," before walking toward the building. Wait. You can talk. I turned. It was Susanna Whitlock. We were in the same class back in preschool. When I saw she was really speaking to me, I gave a small nod and kept walking. She caught up, grabbed my hand, and swung it lightly. "Was that your mom who brought you? She's so pretty. I've never seen her before." I smiled despite myself. She's my new mom. And yeah, she is really pretty. Her eyes widened. Then she waved toward the classroom door. "Donald, come here. Natividad Blackwell talks now." A blur raced over. It was Donald. I knew him. Back in preschool, he was always tagging after Susanna. Someone once called him a lapdog. I thought it was a nickname. Dog sounded cute to me. So one day, I called him that, hoping to make a friend. He ignored me for 3 years after that. He was the class leader. When he iced me out, everyone else followed. After that, I stopped talking altogether. Now he stood there frowning. "Susanna, why are you talking to her? She insulted me once." Susanna blinked. "Wait, she's spoken before?" Not the point. But no one noticed. Donald nodded. Back in preschool, I felt bad no one talked to her. Tried to be nice. Then she called me a dog. I winced. "That's not what I meant. I thought that was your name." "Someone else called you that." "Who?" Donald looked like I'd kicked his puppy. "Richard Richardson. From the other class." Donald gasped. "I thought he was my bro." "He's just jealous I was in the same class as Susanna. And let's face it, he's older and smarter." "Not fair." He glared at me. "My name is Donald Preston. Don't ever call me a dog again." Susanna crossed her arms. "That Richard is so mean. Because of him, we totally misunderstood each other. We could have been friends." She beamed at me. "But hey, it's not too late." Then she turned to Donald. "By the way, I saw Natividad's mom today. She's gorgeous. And she rides a motorcycle." Donald's jaw dropped. "For real? Your mom personally brought you? On a motorcycle?" His cheeks flushed as he grabbed both our arms and pulled us into the classroom. "Hey guys, guess what? Natividad's mom brought her to school today, on a real-deal motorcycle." The room erupted. These were kids used to limos and Benzes. But motorcycles? That was cool. Some had older siblings who rode bikes or raced. Are you serious? Like the kind that feels like flying? Wow. Natividad. Your mom is amazing. 2 wheels and she rides it like a pro. Can I ride with you next time? Wait. Did I tell you my brother's still in the hospital? No one heard that last one. It was the first time so many people had spoken to me. I stumbled back, overwhelmed. Susanna leaned close and whispered, "Don't worry. I used to think you couldn't talk. I was afraid if we did, it'd make you sad. But now that I know, I'm gonna keep talking to you. Forever." That afternoon, when Mom came to pick me up, I was surrounded by a crowd of kids. She jogged over, half worried, half bewildered. "What the hell? Did they break my kid or something? Before I could explain, Susanna Whitlock, more excited than me, pointed right at Mom and called out to the others. Look, that pretty lady is Natividad's mom. A swarm of kids rushed toward her. Auntie, are you like the queen of motorcycles? Can we sit on it too? I've never been on one before. I panicked a little. That was my seat. Why should anyone else get to sit there? But if it was Susanna who asked, I could let her ride for 10 minutes. I squeezed my way to Mom's side and clutched her hand tightly, shaking my head at the others. Your brother's still in the hospital, remember? You really want to join him. And motorcycles are dangerous. I've gotten used to riding one, so I'll be okay. But if you get hurt, my mom can't afford to pay your hospital bills. Donald Preston frowned. Are you making that up? I didn't even flinch. Why would I lie? You all know my dad doesn't like me. My mom only brings me to school because she has to. If something happens to me, he wouldn't care. That shut them up. After all, they did think motorcycles were dangerous. That's what made them cool. Mom looked between the disappointed kids as they slowly backed off, her brows furrowed. Natividad, she asked, uncertain. Did you get bullied today? I shook my head. No, Mom. Everyone said you're really pretty and cool for riding a motorcycle. Now they all want to be friends with me. The system screeched. What? How did things get better? This isn't the arc. Mom just smirked. Sorry. I'm hot and badass. People like me. Don't blame me if your mission logic doesn't hold up. She hoisted me up onto the motorcycle with swagger, the engine revving as admiring gasps rang out behind us. Because of Susanna and Donald, I started getting along with the class. By 3rd grade, there were still kids surprised to discover I wasn't mute. One weekend, I was lazily flipping through the last unread book on my shelf when the system chimed in with wicked delight. Host, I've figured it out. Human kids hate reading. Go grab all her books. Sit next to her and quiz her word by word. If she gets it wrong, yell at her. Smack her hand. Mom's face darkened. She clicked her tongue, clearly annoyed. Still begrudgingly, she shuffled into my room. I heard the rustling of pages. Then her muttering. How do you even know that? Creepy. When I was a kid, I hated reading. Especially when my mom sat beside me and tested me word by word. Every time I got one wrong, she'd smack my hand. I swore I'd become a cold, ruthless studying machine. Never smile. Fully dark mode. The system asked. And then? Mom sighed. Then I failed. My life is already ridiculous. No way I'm giving up laughing. I couldn't help myself. I laughed. She heard me and came out of the room with a stack of books. Natividad, today. Mom's in a good mood. So I'm going to test you. If you mess up, I'll smack your hand, alright? God. System. She's gonna hate me, isn't she? She had no idea. When I was in preschool, I used to daydream about having a fairy godmother who would sit and read with me. All the other kids had someone like that. Donald used to cry to me and Susanna about how his mom yanked his ears when he didn't finish memorizing English words. Even Richard from the other class, the annoying one, never got hit. Now here I was, dizzy from how fast my wish was coming true. Still, I pretended to hesitate. Susanna once told me that when you really want something, you should act like you don't. Then parents will make you do it. Mom, satisfied, dragged over a chair and sat beside me. She pointed at the page. What's this word? Watermelon. She nodded and pointed to another. And this? Butterfly. Looking pleased, she was about to keep going when the system cut in. Are you kidding me? This is baby stuff. How is she supposed to suffer if you go easy on her? Get the hard books. Nah. Or I'm shocking you again. Mom grimaced and, after a moment of muttering, pulled out another book. Ahem. Natividad, that one was too easy. Let's try something harder. Challenge helps you grow, you know. I'm not doing this to punish you. It's all part of your education. I nodded sweetly. Okay, Mom. Ask away. She flipped a page and pointed. Pneumonia, I said. Mom? System. What? She flipped again and pointed. Nephelibita. Mom. Excuse me? System. Hello. Mom, am I in 3rd grade or is she in my 3rd grade? System. This assignment is a trap. They sent me here to die. She tucked me back in my room and stood in the hallway arguing with the system. This is what you call a villainous in training? Honestly, she should be in a reading competition. The system paused, then answered. She's supposed to be pretty and evil. That's what makes a good villainess. Otherwise, how could she compete with the heroine for the male lead? Mom was furious. So when a guy is pretty and tortured, he's a loyal second lead, but my baby's a villainess? Hypocrites. Asterisk, don't overthink it, the system grumbled. We're here to do a job. Just finish the mission and move on. Mom didn't look convinced. She stomped off outside. From the window, I watched her pacing the garden, clearly fuming. I returned to my room and carefully reshelved my books, smoothing down the covers. When I reached the last 2, thick, difficult ones, I gently touched the note hidden inside and read it again and again before slipping it back in. That night, I was curled up on the sofa in bunny pajamas, waiting for her to return. She paused in the doorway when she saw me. Natividad? Why aren't you asleep? I slid down from the couch and stood in front of her. I was waiting for you. I've never gotten a gift before. No one's ever taken me to school. I used to be so jealous of kids whose moms read with them. But now I have that too. So, don't be mad, okay? I promise to be good. She stared at me for a long time. This time, I didn't hear her thoughts. The system was silent too. Eventually, she crouched down and scooped me into her arms. Of course I know you're good. You're the sweetest, smartest little girl. She kissed my forehead and smiled. Go to sleep, Natividad. Your dad's coming home tomorrow. With how good you've been. I think he might finally see it too. I was already drifting off, my eyes fluttering closed. Maybe, just maybe, this meeting would go a little better than the last. The next morning, when I woke up, Dad was already home. I hadn't seen him in so long that I didn't dare go any closer. Just stood at the doorway, watching him from a distance. Mom noticed me and waved. Natividad, come here. Daddy's home. I shuffled forward slowly and mumbled a soft, Dad. He didn't seem as cold as he used to. He even gave me a small nod and walked toward me. When he reached out his hand, I flinched and instinctively shut my eyes. But the next thing I knew, I was lifted into the air. When I opened my eyes again, I was in his arms, and Mom stood nearby, watching us. Mom told him about the nanny, she said. Dad pressed his lips together. I haven't been a good father. I let my grief over your mother get in the way. Being around you. I was afraid you'd blame me for losing her. Can you forgive me? It felt like I was dreaming. Ever since Mom came into our lives, everything seemed to be getting better. I wrapped my arms around his shoulders and asked, will you come to my parent-teacher meetings from now on? I will. Will you help me study too? I will. Can you ride a motorcycle? No. I giggled. Then Mom's still cooler than you. The system snorted. This kid's just like you. Adores the poor, resents the rich. Mom beamed. You don't get it. That's called having personality. Dad was planning to stay home for a month this time, and he promised to take me to school the next day, with Mom. I was so happy I couldn't stop smiling. When I eventually fell asleep, he carried me to my room and quietly tucked me in, then looked at Mom with a complicated expression. You're one of them too, aren't you? Mom didn't hide it. She nodded. Yes. He looked down, straightening my blanket. I really hate you people. These so-called mission guides, you come and go as you please. The last one. It was me. Now it's my daughter, right? Her expression faltered, but she still answered. Most guides are chosen. We don't have a choice. We just want to leave too. His face stayed tense. But I already went through the pain once. I distanced myself from her. I stayed away to keep that protagonist aura from reaching her. And you still showed up. She sighed. That's how stories work. Something perfect has to break. And what's broken needs healing. That's what people like to watch. Are you here to heal her then? Well, something went off track. I may have overdone it. But, have you noticed? She talks more now. He didn't reply, but his silence spoke for itself. Mom smiled faintly. See? If things are already in motion, you might as well hope for the best. Your ex-wife was a guide. She left. But Natividad is real. If I fail this mission, I'll stay. I'll stay here with Natividad. She's such a good kid. Honestly? That wouldn't be a bad ending. After that day, Mom changed. She didn't just praise me in her mind anymore. She'd scoop me up and spin me around, shouting that I was the best kid in the world. Sometimes the system would still chime in, but she ignored it completely. At night, though, I began to hear sounds, arguments, cries of pain, coming from her room. But during the day, she'd help me study, take me traveling, and whenever Dad was free, he'd join us. I stopped being the quiet child I used to be. Susanna Whitlock became my best friend. Donald Preston often tagged along when we went out. We stayed together through middle school, then high school. But every time I tried to introduce Susanna to Mom, something strange would stop us. The car would break down. One of them would suddenly get sick. Once, we even got separated at a restaurant after a gas stove exploded in the kitchen. It was frustrating. Eventually, I figured out it must have been that interference field the system talked about. Something to do with character dynamics. Mom didn't seem to care. She'd fully embraced her chaotic attitude. So what if we never meet? It's not like there's some major character anyway. Maybe the universe just doesn't want two villainous women appearing together. Afraid we'll break the script. And honestly, you're the weird one. Why do you need to meet someone just to confirm their role? The system grumbled. You know, if you keep slacking off like this, I'll never gain enough points to level up. You should be grateful I installed that character recognition module. Mom shrugged, taking the peeled apple slices I'd handed her. Whatever. With a daughter like Natividad, my life's not hard. What more could I want? Wait. When's the mission deadline again? The system replied blandly, on Natividad Blackwell's 18th birthday. Oh, that's coming up pretty fast, huh? I was sitting nearby with a book when I saw her chewing slow down, her jaw suddenly stiff. System. When the time comes, will I really not be able to stay? Maybe. Maybe what? Maybe you'll die. Yeah, well, guess I can't relax after all. Her hand froze, still holding the apple slice. I immediately put my book down and walked over. Mom, are you okay? Don't want the apple anymore? I can get you a new one. Staring at my face, Lilith Irving suddenly didn't know what to say. She sighed and patted the seat beside her. I sat down. Natividad, if one day I had to leave, what would you do? I looked up at her seriously. Would you be leaving because you wanted to, or because you had to? She blinked. Is there a difference? I nodded. If someone forced you to go, I'd come find you. But if it was your choice, then I'd wish you happiness every day. She was quiet for a long time. So long I thought she'd dozed off. Then I heard her murmur. Damn. This whole thing's messed up. System, I kinda miss home. But hey, being stuck here isn't so bad. Natividad's the only thing I really care about now. And honestly, one reason's enough to stay. My 18th birthday landed on the day I graduated from high school. After the graduation party, Susanna Whitlock was about to head home, but I grabbed her hand before she could leave. Susanna, are you free tonight? Will you come back with me to celebrate? She hesitated. I don't know. Your mom's probably home, and I'm afraid it'll end up like all the other times. Donald Preston popped up from behind her, waving his hand dismissively. Who cares? It's your 18th birthday. She was with us for ours. Natividad's gotta have us for hers. As for the rest, we'll figure it out. If we still can't meet your mom, we'll throw you another party tomorrow, like always. So I brought them both home. This time, nothing got in our way. No car trouble, no elevator failure, no glitchy door locks. And then, I heard it. That same high-pitched shriek I'd heard from the system the very first time. Aya! Host. That's the heroine. Of course. I turned to Susanna Whitlock. After so many years living alongside the system and Mom, I'd picked up on certain patterns. Just like Mom always said. Fact 1. I'm smart, pretty, and rich. Fact 2. I'm the villainous second female lead. Therefore there has to be a girl nearby, someone smarter, prettier, or richer than me. Who's the heroine? The system once tried to argue that the heroine didn't have to be prettier or smarter. But Mom just raised a brow and said, then why would she outrank my Natividad? Still, aside from my mom's obvious bias, Susanna Whitlock really did fit the bill. Okay, maybe not smarter than me, but definitely prettier. And she'd always been warm, cheerful, like a little sun. Basically my polar opposite. Mom looked like something inside her had just cracked. You're telling me the heroine's been right next to my baby Natividad all this time? System, I think this plot has officially gone off the rails. The system chirped back smugly. Sure has. Would you like your complimentary compensation? $0. Completely unaware of the chaotic reactions around her, Susanna beamed and stepped up eagerly to Mom. Hi, Aunt Irving. I'm Natividad's best friend. I haven't seen you since preschool. You were so cool back then, riding that motorcycle. She looked like she'd just found a long-lost mentor. Mom, on the other hand, was unsettlingly calm. She's complimenting me? What a sweet kid. Wait, no. She's the heroine. According to the original plot, Natividad is supposed to sabotage her relationship with the male lead. Are they going to end up tearing each other apart? I stepped forward and gently looped my arm through Susanna's. Mom, this is my best friend, Susanna Whitlock. I've wanted you two to meet for years, but something always got in the way. Isn't she just as lovely as I said? Mom opened her mouth, but ended up swallowing the words, not as lovely as you instead. Donald Preston bounded over to greet her too. The system's radar pinged again. Host. That's the second male lead. I nodded subtly. With that goofy grin? Yeah, definitely not the male lead. Then came a knock on the door. I took a deep breath and opened it. There stood Richard Richardson. He looked as awkward as ever, but still managed a stiff, happy birthday. I stepped aside to let him in, quietly waiting for the system's response. Richard had been in the class next to ours since preschool. Smart. Good-looking. Classic model student. From years of observation, I'd noted the signs. Mild germophobia, dislike of physical contact, an ever-cold expression, and every time he passed our class, he always stole a glance at Susanna. I didn't really like him, but Mom's checklist was painfully accurate. So I studied even harder, eventually matching him grade for grade, and gained enough standing to finally befriend him. Sure enough, the system squealed. The male lead has arrived. Host, what's going on? Is this Natividad's birthday or a trial by fire? Mom was clearly thrown off, but she composed herself and ushered everyone inside. The cake was brought out. Trying to keep up, she asked gently. So, Natividad, which one's the male lead? Donald's never been here before, right? Are you going to introduce him? Before I could say anything, Susanna cut in cheerfully. Aunt Irving, Donald's such a brick wall. Takes him hours to say a full sentence. This is my first time visiting too. Let me introduce myself. Mom laughed a little too hard. Ha ha ha. Natividad talks about you all the time. I feel like your long-lost second mom already. Just curious, you know. Susanna leaned closer, casting a glance toward Richard. Auntie, I'm just saying, Richard Richardson is the worst. He's always trying to beat Natividad for first place. And he acts like he's too cool to speak. I bumped into him once, and he went home and changed his entire outfit. Humph, I just hugged Natividad. I didn't even change my clothes. Mom wasn't listening anymore. Why does that personality sound so familiar? Host, I think the male lead lines up, but the heroine's characterization is all over the place. Host, is your daughter possibly less? Nope. I cut the system off before it could finish. Mom, Richard wanted to ask what college I'm applying to. I told him he had to come to my birthday party first. He probably just wants to keep competing with me. Susanna launched herself at me. Don't worry, Natividad. I'm in your class too. I'll protect you. In my heart, you'll always be better than Richard. The system audibly gagged, but Mom was already too deep in her shipping fever. She pulled me close, nuzzling my cheek. My sweet Natividad. 18 already. You're a grown young lady now. Life's just going to get better from here. I nodded. It will, Mom. Dad arrived right alongside the cake. It had apple roses, my favorite, and Mom's favorite chocolate, too. He used to ask why I always insisted on including Mom's favorite flavors in my birthday cake. I told him birthdays were meant to make everyone happy. This year, I didn't tell Mom what wish I made before blowing out the candles. She didn't ask either. Natividad's already 18, she said lightly. Keeping secrets is normal. But if someone bullies you, just tell me. I'll beat them up for you. I smiled and nodded again. Still, I noticed a flicker of sadness in her eyes. Maybe she was feeling that bittersweet ache all parents do when their beloved child starts growing up. Or maybe, it was something else. Something about tomorrow. When everyone had gone home, I clung to her hand, refusing to go to bed. Her expression softened. Amused. What's this? Getting clingy all of a sudden? Don't worry, Natividad. Even when you're 80, you'll still be 8 years old in my heart. Dad rolled his eyes from the side. Natividad, why don't you ever cling to me? Suddenly, my chest tightened. My throat burned. Because soon, I won't be able to hold Mom's hand anymore. Both their faces changed, alarmed and confused. Sweetheart, what do you mean? I didn't answer right away. I just looked straight at Mom. Mom, can your system hear me right now? Her face drained of color. She stared at me. Natividad, how long have you known? I wrapped my arms around her and whispered, It doesn't matter. Now you know what I wished for, right? Mom's expression shifted. She was just about to say something when the system's voice cut in again. Holy hell, host. You completed the mission. The heroine has absolutely no interest in the male lead anymore. All she wants is to stay glued to Natividad Blackwell. And Natividad's desire for you to leave has hit full capacity. You can go home now. Of course I heard it too. Part of me was relieved, but I only hugged Mom tighter. Mom, you can go home now. Her eyes lost focus for a moment, but they never left my face. Natividad. Mom never. I never meant to. I nodded, tears already streaming down. I know, Mom. I've heard it all. Everything the system said, everything you said. I heard it. I know you were good to me. Not for points, not for missions, but because you really cared. I didn't want you to keep hurting. And I didn't want my 18th birthday to feel like some kind of punishment for you. The system said that as long as my hatred reached the maximum, if I wanted Mom gone badly enough, she'd be allowed to leave. But I couldn't do that. So I thought, maybe if my love reached the limit, maybe that could work too. Maybe that would be enough. The countdown began, and before I could even cry again, she beat me to it. Tears poured down her face. But what about you, my sweet girl? What happens to you? I shook my head. Mom, you and Dad already raised me so well. I don't cry in secret anymore. I don't get bullied. You taught me how to be strong. Whatever happens now, I can handle it. Let me rewrite the ending this time, okay? She hugged me tight. Tight enough to bruise, but I didn't mind one bit. Her tears dripped onto my cheeks. I heard her whisper, "Thank you, baby. I'm going to miss you so much." I hugged her just as tightly, wiping her tears with my hands. "I'll miss you too, Mom." The countdown hit 0. And just like that, she vanished from in front of me, as if she'd never been here at all. I turned to Dad, forcing a smile. "Dad, you don't have to worry anymore. No one else will come here to do missions." I wiped my face dry. Then, seeing the sorrow on his face, I asked him something I'd been wondering for a while. "Dad, do you know why I could hear Mom and the system talking?"